Another mourning family in our area is looking for answers tonight as a 19-year-old who'd gone missing was found dead just minutes from his home in Brooklyn.
CBS 2's Christy Kalishian spoke with his family.
We love him. We love him. We love him. And I'm so sorry that this happened to him.
The family of 19-year-old DeAndre Matthews coping with unexpected grief over his tragic death.
I just want justice for my son. My son got off for work Monday, and then that was it.
DeAndre Matthews, also known as Dre, went missing Monday. Matthews left his job at 5 p.m. at Detail Shop Buggy Service Center in Crown Heights near his home. Tuesday, his mother's Jeep Cherokee was found a few minutes away on Troy Avenue, burned. His body was then found near Nostrand Avenue on train tracks. Police say also burned. His mom was able to find this out by tracking the car down. He was her only son.
This is disgusting. Like, my brother didn't do anything to nobody, and I could really say that. He wasn't in a gang. He wasn't a violent kid. He wasn't a bad kid. You know what I'm saying? He stayed in the house.
The 19-year-old was known for his sense of humor. He loved driving, spending time with his family, and playing video games.
We don't know nothing. We don't know anything. And my sister, she don't deserve this at all. At all. He's just so nice to people. You're just always too nice. And sometimes people can take that for granted. I always told him to be strong, though.
Matthews was a student at SUNY Broome Community College. He was studying criminal justice, and his family says he wanted to become a social worker. In Flatbush, Christy Kalishian, CBS 2 News.
When I first heard about this story, I said that is extremely tragic, especially since, the details, of what occurred, of them saying they found his car was burnt up. Then they said they found his body on train tracks and he was burnt as well. But there is some more additional details to the story that the audio clip that you just heard did not have in here. But I wanted to play that first just in case they did insert that in there. And it's the stuff that I'm going to tell you about is going to be like, wow, it's going to like hit you like a bag of bricks on top of what you already heard. That's actually just like a small sliver of the story. That clip was only about 1 minute and 46 seconds long. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the article from ABC News that was posted February 20th, 2023. It says, when DeAndre Matthews, a gay 19-year-old, went missing on February 7th, his mother knew something was wrong. Danielle Matthews used her SUV's tracking function and located the vehicle that her son borrowed on a Brooklyn, New York street about 10 minutes from where she and her son lived. There was a dark tinge on the inside of the windows. She called the police. When the police opened the door, smoke was coming out of my back seat, Danielle Matthews told ABC News. I knew my son was gone from that moment. A few hours later, police responded to a 911 call about a body on the freight train tracks near Nostrand Avenue in Flatbush, just a few miles away from where the SUV was found. Police identified the body as DeAndre Matthews. There were significant burns throughout his body, a gunshot wound in his head, and signs of smoke inhalation, according to the police report. He was pronounced dead at the scene by EMS. So this was done by somebody. This was definitely a crime, or a murder, I should say, committed by someone. Because I highly doubt he killed himself and then burned himself alive in the car. This kind of reminds me of Darren Seals a little bit. The parallels of the story sound almost exactly the same as far as how their demise were. DeAndre's cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head with perforation of the skull and brain, according to the NYC office of the chief medical examiner. The manner of death was a homicide. The circumstances surrounding DeAndre Matthews' death are currently under investigation. No arrests have been made, according to police. Danielle Matthews believes her son's killing was a hate crime because of the severity of his injuries and the fact that he was gay. She also believes it's possible that he was introduced to his killer on the internet because he sometimes met new acquaintances online. Something just screams to me dating site. And maybe possibly a catfish, someone out there pretending to be someone that they're not. DeAndre is so gullible. My baby trusted everybody, and I hate that about him, Danielle Matthews said. DeAndre thought nobody would harm him. That's scary when his own mother was able to basically put out there a flaw about her son. And she probably didn't want to put it out there, especially under the circumstances right now, and she's grieving. But she's basically saying the one thing about her son is that he was too trusting. And you heard that in the audio. That wasn't his mother that said it. I believe that was a relative. I'm not sure how they were related, but I believe it was a relative that said that he was very trusting. The day before his death, DeAndre Matthews went to work at Buggy Service Center, TLC, a Brooklyn-based car rental company, according to company owner Jeremy Moskowitz. DeAndre had started working there in January and was already well liked by his colleagues. He left work that afternoon, according to Moskowitz. Danielle Matthews said her son asked to borrow her SUV later that day. He drove off at approximately 5:45 p.m., according to his mother. That was the last time she had heard from him. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I'm lost. That was my first child. He was my first true love. He taught me how to be a mother, Danielle Matthews said. So to them killers, they have no idea what they did. DeAndre Matthews loved being around his big extended family and playing with his younger sister and stepbrother, according to his mother. He enjoyed driving and attended SUNY, Broome Community College, where he was studying criminal justice. He wanted to help people. He felt that he could have made things better in the world, Danielle Matthews said, but he's still going to make it better because we're going to keep DeAndre's name alive. We're going to keep fighting for DeAndre. Very sad story indeed, but somebody or somebodies definitely did this to him. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a targeted attack. That's why, though, for those out there who want to be risky and get on those dating sites, you have to be extra careful because you never know what people's motives are. You never know what people are like on these sites. Again, on the internet, anybody can be whoever they want. That's why, like, if I come across people, hopefully, one day down the line, I can actually meet them in person to see exactly how they are and feel how they are, because you can see them online, say on a live stream, and see their face, and they're putting on a persona for you online because you're online, but then you meet them in person and they're still completely different. But somebody was definitely out to get him. The fact that he was shot in the head, they burned the car, which means they were trying to burn up the evidence, because he had to have been shot first, clearly. Then they burnt the car up to hide the evidence, and then they threw his body onto the train tracks to really try to get rid of him. Luckily, nothing or no train came through there, because it didn't say that he was dismembered. So he was still very much intact. He just, he didn't look how he looks in this picture. It's a very sad tale, definitely indeed. But I would like to know, though, because I always have to ask, since, is a part of the discussion, why hasn't the Academy spoken about this? Now, this story got reported on a few days ago, because I'm recording it on the 24th, but it started to really make its rounds about 2 weeks ago, and I have not seen not one person from that academy speak up or speak out about this story in hopes to help this family find justice. I always got to insert that in there somewhere, somehow, some way. Again, they love to have the smoke when it comes to us, but they be definitely quiet when something like this happens with them. And this is a black man, by the way. So you already know how that goes. But hopefully the family does get the justice that they are seeking, because that's definitely a tragedy. To lose your child or lose a loved one is a tragedy in itself. But in the way that he died, or should I say was murder, because this was murder. I don't care what anybody says. Whoever did this wanted him dead. Because I always tell people, when you shoot somebody point blank range in the head or like a headshot, that's the kill shot. It's a 0.1% chance you're gonna survive that. And then the fact that they burned him up in the car, and then his body wasn't even in the car, so they moved the body to another location. Hopefully they find out who did it. Maybe hopefully there's some cameras around that can pick up who was last seen with him, because whoever was last with him most likely is the person that did it.